Hey there, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Real Women, Real Talk. This is where we have real, honest dialogue about topics that affect and impact women. And we are so glad you are here. I am Trenace Richardson, and I am one of your co hosts, and I'm joined by.
You are joined by the newly 47-year-old Shavon Carter. Woo!
Hey, 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 hey. Look, because we are taping beforehand,
Yeah,
we get to talk about all the birthday shenanigans on the next episode,
right,
but we got to remember to do that, okay?
for sure. We're going to have some things to talk about, yes.
Do you feel like you're going to be different at this one?
Not physically, because I'm already starting to feeling the aches and stuff of getting older. So I think that started at the end of 46. But I don't think I don't feel any different.
Okay, yeah, yeah. It's just from one day to the next
Yeah.
day. It was just another 24 hours.
Exactly.
And we've been taught to, well, we have learned in Real Women Together, we really focus on like decades and, over 5, 10 years, looking back and reflecting and growing.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait to have these conversations with you and just, how you feeling now you're in this part of your 40s.
Right. I'm inching closer to 50. That's so exciting to me. I'm just excited about,
I
going
am
with this.
so excited for you. It is wonderful over here. You hear me? It is
Oh,
I feel grown. I feel
yeah.
like grown. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Love
good.
that. Mhm.
hmm Well, y'all gonna get all of this energy. This is the
Uh-huh.
month. This is Pisces time. This is Shavon Carter's time.
It
This is
is.
There are a lot of wonderful birthday people in this month for me, and so I am joining in on all the energy, even though it's cold outside.
It's cold. That's the only thing about this time of year. It's not warm birthday, but yeah, I'm gonna bring in the warm. Yes.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Mhm.
So, y'all, we are going to tell you a bit more about who we are later in the episode. Please make sure that you watch previous episodes and you subscribe and like and follow and all those things so that you can hear more about us. We do have a website that you can go visit, realwomenrock.org, and it tells you all about who we are. And for now, we're just going to jump into the podcast because that's what you came for. Right. And
Mhm.
so, real talk, we like to know how y'all are doing. So, we love for you to send us little notes to let us know how you're doing. Last year we had a few. Y'all done dropped off a little bit from the holidays and all of that. So, come on back and let us know how you're doing. We'll tell you how to do that in just a little bit. But first of all, birthday girl,
Yeah.
how are you doing? Real talk.
So at the time of this episode airing, it will be 75 days before I graduate.
Not you counting down.
Y'all don't need to calm down because you don't understand what
You
it took
ain't
me to
playing.
get here. 75 days away from graduation. I'm so excited. I just completed one of two big presentations. So I got one more case presentation to go, and that is going to be it for your girl. You hear me? You just got to get these hours in, baby. So I am feeling good. I see the finish line. It is here. Yes.
I am so happy for you. I'm gonna be yes! All the cheers and the tears, all of them.
Yes. Oh
The
my
cheers
God.
and the tears.
Yes.
So I am feeling really good, and I think it's because I'm giving myself margin.
Ooh.
If I have to grind, then
Mhm.
I'm going to slow it down to a halt after that so that I can recoup and, yes, just get it back together again before I have to grind again. And
Mhm.
so I'm learning in my 50s
Yes.
that it's really healthy for me to navigate seasonally, like the
Mhm.
hustle and the bustle and all. I love, all of that was cool in my 30s, maybe
Yeah.
my 20s. I'm not grinding and hustling and bustling and all of that anymore. That's not the language I'm using
Yeah.
at this time in my life. And so just really important to me to do things that I love. So
Mhm.
today I spent time with my son,
Mhm.
and this past weekend, we spent time celebrating at the time of this taping. We spent time celebrating his birthday.
Mm.
And so, really important for me to take moments and experience the moment and
Yeah.
not just rush through moments. And so, real talk, I'm in my moments. That's
That
what
is
I'm doing, real talk.
beautiful. Yes. Love
Mhm,
that.
mhm. Yeah.
Using the moments. Yes.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, yes, yes. So I want to have some fun with our real talk because we always have at least one extra question in here in addition to how are we doing.
Mhm.
And we are asking this of you too. So I'm going to show you in a second how you can share with us your answer. But I would love for you to give me one assumption you either have now or have made in the past. And maybe if you could think about where it came from. And I'm going to go first just
Okay.
to give you a couple of examples, just to get your mind going. And of course, assumptions can be stereotypical. So we're not calling these right.
Mhm.
We're just saying, we're just being real that they can be assumptions. And so in the past, I've been told some things and I just remember like who they are. I don't know who they are, but they said they said that men with big feet.
Right.
That's what they said. That's
Yeah.
what they said. And then in this climate that we're in, I used to be able to, or I thought I could assume that if you were Black, if you were African American, you believed in certain things, you were more liberal, you were, and less conservative. And that is not true. You cannot make an assumption because we are not all a monolith.
Mhm.
And so there were just some assumptions that I had. Those are a fun one and a serious one. I
Mhm.
got others, but I'm wondering, does anything come to mind for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll start with my fun one before I get to my deep one. But okay, ladies, don't take this the
Mhm.
wrong way. My sisters don't take this wrong way. But I used to think light skinned girls was stuck up.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Girl,
Yes,
we caught all of the heat. You hear me?
right.
All of it.
Yes. So I used to think
Mhm,
that I don't know where that assumption they said that light skinned girls were stuck
mhm.
up. But the serious assumption that I had was I thought that girls who grew up with their fathers in the home would not have daddy issues.
Wow. Yes, right? Because, like, why? Because your
How you
daddy
got
was
the same
there.
issues? Right? How you got the same issues I got? My daddy wasn't there. Why you got the same issues as me? So I've learned that over the years of talking to different women, like it does not matter. Like you can still come out with something that you're still wrestling with and dealing with, even if your dad was in the home. So that was a big assumption for me.
Yeah. Really good. Really good. Okay. So I'm going to just have a little more fun with this, just a little
Okay.
bit, and then we're going to move on.
Yes.
But so because I'm a singer, because
Mhm.
I love music, and so many of us in my community, my sisterships and everything, we are music heads. We just
Yeah.
love listening to music. So you don't have to sing to love music. But if I've ever watched a show, one of those music shows, or I've been at an entertainment place, maybe watching a musical or something at a play, if a big person comes on the stage or on the TV, I'm like, oh, they about to blow it. They about to
Yes.
sing. Why do we assume you about to blow
Hilarious.
just because you big? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's
Oh,
no skinny people can sing too. It's so
man.
funny. Just so stereotypical. I'm just being
Yes.
so honest right now.
Yes. But that's funny because I was telling you I was watching the Luther Vandross documentary, and you know how the joke used to be, we want big Luther, not little Luther.
Yes.
He sang it the same, whether he was big Luther or little Luther, but it's something about we just equate you being able to sing real good to someone that's bigger. Yeah. Mhm.
And conversely, if you see somebody skinny making food versus somebody big making food, you like, I want they food because they look like they can
I
cook.
can't cook right.
We are so wrong for that. So wrong. All of y'all that was thinking that right now, you wrong. You wrong. So in the spirit of light and knowing, all of the same, right?
Yeah.
If
Totally.
you have any that you would love to share with us, why don't you go ahead and just reach out to us and just embarrass yourself with us now.
Right.
Tell us the truth.
Right.
What are some assumptions that you have made that you can't even help? They told you that, and then you just took it on because they said. Go to speakpipe.com/real women real talk or email us at info@realwomen.org. No judgment. We just, we wondering. Tell
Yeah.
us. So I want to build on this for our deep dive and just take this a little step further.
Okay.
And I think we will get a bit more serious about this because we all are living. I've been calling this the Twilight Zone. I really feel like we are living in the Twilight Zone. We're living in the upside down, whatever you want to call it. There's just so much happening in the world right now. And so what I want to talk about, still under the guise of assumptions, you know what they say about assumptions, right? Yes. So when you assume, supposedly, you are making an ass out of you and me, right? That's what they say. That's the adage that they say. So I want to talk about that. You know what they say about assumptions, and just take really seriously that in this season that we're in our world and in our country, that there are a lot of assumptions being made. A lot on both sides. I just think on either side of any argument, I believe that you can find some assumptions or unconscious bias being made. And so I want to talk about that under the umbrella of unconscious implicit bias. Because not until we are aware of our own assumptions can we do anything about it, in my opinion. And so I want to first ask what, and we talked about assumptions, right? But can you think of any unconscious implicit bias for or against something, some idea, some group of people that you hold? Something that you don't necessarily, it's not your second thought, it's not your managed thought, it is something that's kind of automatic for you that comes to mind. And I'm going to be honest, this is going to be a very vulnerable conversation because, again, it's easy for us to point the finger and say, you're not being fair to us. And that is happening. That is real and is happening. But again, it takes us being aware of what unconscious bias and assumption looks like so that we can be fair in a conversation and point it out. And so I will say that for me, I have made implicit bias judgments about the way someone is dressed. If they are not, maybe not even just dressed to the nines, but let's say they are disheveled or they are not as clean cut, or they might have stains, or I make assumptions that they are not as well off. Maybe they don't have as much to offer. They may not have as much to give, as far as even just when you think you could probably have an amazing conversation with someone and glean and gain from them, and it has nothing to do with how they're dressed. But I might make some assumption based on what I see on the external about what kind of exchange we could have or should have, just based on how they look. I'm hoping that gives you some context for where I'm going, and go wherever you like to go with yours.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really honest assumption that I'm going to share. Real talk. This is a safe space, right? And I hope I don't offend anyone. But this is how the thoughts that come up. When I think about someone who appears to be overweight, I think about I automatically equate it to them not taking care of themselves, like them seeing the weight come on and just not doing anything about it. And this came to me recently. I was listening to the Breakfast Club, the radio show, the Breakfast Club, and they had this young lady, Big Dank. I don't know if you've heard about her, but she is the one that was on social media. She went viral for the Lyft driver refusing to give her a ride because of her size. Um,
Oh.
so she's a plus size young lady, and he refused to give her a ride because he said that his tires were balding, and he feared that her getting in his car would mess up his tires. And so it became a big deal. She put it on social media and just a lot of backlash. So they had her on the Breakfast Club. And as I was listening to her interview, I heard her nutritionist was with her. I heard another person was with her, and they were talking about the work that she was doing to lose the weight, and the weight that she would have to get down to in order to have like the a surgery or whatever to help reduce her weight. But it just gave me so much compassion and empathy. Whereas without that story, I would have just automatically judged her
Mhm.
for her size. So I know that there's just definitely some unconscious bias or implicit bias there.
Yeah, thank you for that honesty and vulnerability.
Mhm.
I liken it to what you said at the beginning, because I'm about to add to yours. But I like what you said at the beginning about just looking at someone's external when it comes to like lighter skinned women, right? That light skin, dark skin thing has been a real wedge in between African American women in a real way
Mhm.
over the years. And so it's this external, as a result of how you look, I make this assumption or judgment about you. And
Yeah.
so I can sit with you in what you shared and say, one of the places in which that came to mind for me when you were talking is when I'm on an airplane and I go to my seat, and already I just don't like anybody sitting next to me. Because they make these things so small. They make them too small for anybody right now.
Yeah.
But if someone is beside me is a little larger than, than what the seat can hold, and
Yeah.
they are spilling over the seats,
Mhm.
it's a deep inhale and exhale, that, okay, this is what we got to do for this flight, whatever,
Yeah.
and so there's an assumption there as it
Mhm.
relates to, or at least a judgment there that makes me feel a certain way when I have to endure that.
Mhm.
And again, I have no clue who this person is and what they are dealing with. And I already know these seats are too small for a normal person,
Right.
not, for a normal size or a smaller size person. So
Mhm.
the assumptions that we make about people based on external
Yeah,
comes from somewhere.
it does.
Where do you think it comes from? I'm asking, where do you think? I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I'll tell you that specific example where it comes from.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
it's not funny, but my grandma, I think I think my grandmother was prejudiced towards bigger people. Like she would always point it out. Like if my
Mhm.
mother was gaining weight, she like you looking a little fat, like she would say that. So I really think
Mhm.
there was a conditioning that being larger is an issue because
Mhm.
growing up I was very thin, like 90 pounds for a long time until I got into college. So I was used to being smaller, but now as I'm getting older, maybe picking up some weight. So no, I ain't
Mhm.
a thin girl anymore. And so it's just, but I think it comes from my grandmother for that specific example. So I think it's just learned behavior. It's modeled for us a lot of times.
Yeah, I'll use same example because we both gave this example, but I'll use another where it can be derived from, because for me, I think um, and this is growing up because I'm old enough where I didn't have social media. At my most influential ages,
Yeah.
it was TV and magazines
Yeah.
and music videos.
Yes.
Like, to know that big three for me
Mhm.
seeing the prettiest girls get the, the cutest shaped girls, the smallest girls get the most attention, and being highlighted as, models at that time were only the smallest girls. Like
Always so.
there was no plus size models back,
Mhm.
back then that were celebrated. And so I got the implicit assumption made that big was bad and small was better,
Right.
and
Mhm.
so it comes from media influence.
Mhm. For
For
sure.
me, that was one of them, and I can imagine, a myriad of places, because we just gave a couple from our experiences, but they come from a myriad of places.
Absolutely.
And
Mhm.
so we would love to hear what some of yours are and where you think they come from. I
Yeah.
will at least say unconscious implicit bias is the judgment calls that we don't control, that automatically come, right?
Yeah.
So it's our first thought when we see someone. Like when just think about if you are in a position as an interviewer
Yeah.
and you have to interview two people, and it really is just supposed to be about their resume.
Mhm.
But let's say their resume is exactly the same. Everything on their resume is exactly the same. When you are looking at these two people and listening to them talk and hearing their name and the pronunciation of their name, and seeing how they're dressed, what are your thoughts and who do you go with and why? Right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
whatever those immediate thoughts are, that is your unconscious implicit bias.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we can also have a bias toward, not just a bias against,
Mhm.
because we can have a favorable bias. Like we can just automatically go for white is better, or, we can automatically go for name brand is automatically better quality. And,
Yeah.
I'm always going to do name brand, or I'm always going to go with the most expensive something, or I'm always going to pick this versus that, whatever this is, right?
Mhm.
So it can be for or against. I don't know if anything comes up for you as it relates to just the definition and kind of framing it. Anything come up for you?
Yeah, I was thinking about when you said four. I am for my short girls. I'm
Mm.
for my short girls. Like I am 5'2", so I just gravitate towards like when I see a shorter girl, be like, girl, I see you. I understand.
Mm. I love it.
So that and then also darker skin girls, because I'm a dark
Mhm.
skinned woman, I do have a bias for, more melanated individuals. So yeah, dark
Mhm.
skin girls, I'll be like, girl, she looks so good. Look at her chocolate skin. Like I do notice a bias towards that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think all of us have bias. All of us do.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so when we see this bias being manifested in the world and in our country right now,
Yeah.
and knowing that white males have always looked out for themselves,
For sure. Mhm.
and people in power, nepotism is a real thing. So and it's real, and I understand it, because if I was in a position to help my baby, I would,
Bring
so
my baby over here, and he or she gonna work with me. Yes.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So bias is real. It
Mhm.
just becomes, how do we manage it, right? How do we manage it? So I first want to ask, before we ask that big question, how do we manage it? Is there any good that can come from making an assumption or having a bias? Are there any benefits to bias or assumptions? Anything good about it?
I think if there is an assumption of good intentions, like if we assume
Mhm.
the best about people, then I think
Mhm.
that is inherently good, right? Because we are looking at people as inherently good. Like if we see
Mhm.
that, they don't have bad intentions, and I'm just going to assume that about anybody until they show me differently. I think
Mhm.
that is something good. And that's
Yeah.
probably the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that, because that is still an assumption. That is
Mhm.
still it's a bias or a philosophy or maybe a paradigm of thinking
Yeah.
that I'm going to assume the best. I'm going to assume you have the best intentions. I'm not going to assume that all people are bad at
Yeah.
their, at their inherent core. I'm going to assume that they are inherently good, and work from that assumption
Right.
about people. And I think that's beautiful. Some people would say that that's idealistic or unrealistic, but I love that. It reminds me of what people say, I'm a trust you till you give me a reason not to,
Right.
that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that's an assumption. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So conversely, what are what are the cons to assumptions? Like why are they bad? Or how can they be bad? Why can they be bad?
I think it creates division. I think it creates a closed-minded perspective. Like if I have an assumption about someone and I haven't gotten curious about them, if I haven't asked questions or gotten to know them, then I could go with my assumption and never have an understanding for their plight, what they have gone through, what they're experiencing. So it creates this division and separation, and it doesn't allow us to find the commonalities, between us, because just because I'm not 600 pounds doesn't mean that I don't have struggles with my weight and can't identify with what a bigger person may be going through. So it's like we can find some common ground when we get curious about people's situations and stories. But when we don't give ourselves space to do that, then we just stay closed-minded.
So good, so good. The words that came to mind while you were talking was we need to give ourselves space to grow.
Yeah.
And if we stay stuck in whatever our narrow-mindedness tells us,
Mhm.
and we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to say, well, maybe it's just not here. Maybe there's something over here for me to see, or
Yeah.
maybe there's something over here for me to see. If we don't give ourselves that opportunity,
Mhm.
we don't get to grow. We don't get to stretch our thinking. And it's so important in these days and times to not only be open minded, but to encourage open mindedness.
Yeah.
I am in Leadership Southern Maryland, and it is a group of leaders that convene. They get a cohort of leaders together from an area every year, and there are leadership dots all over the place. And so this one is Southern Maryland, and we are having an amazing time getting to know each other. And it is a definite that some of us are on different political spectrums, different religious spectrums, and we're just daring to have very deep conversations about our differences.
Yeah.
And what it's doing is, in the same way I am expecting you to hear me out and
Mhm.
respect me,
Yeah.
and give me a platform to speak,
Mhm.
to be heard, and to exercise what I believe, as much as it pains me to hear it, to be able to give that to someone else in a conversation. Now, when we get to the point where we are physically, or even verbally harmful toward each other, that's different.
Another thing,
but
yeah.
but just to be able to express ourselves in a safe space where we have, as you mentioned earlier, good intentions,
Mhm.
where the goal is to hear each other,
Yeah.
that has been priceless. Not easy, but
Yeah.
priceless for me in those spaces. Yeah.
And a similar example, like as a counselor, I am trained, or it's incumbent upon us to be self-aware so that I can be aware of those unconscious bias, because I'm going to
Mhm.
have all type of clients. And so if I'm not aware of that, I can inflict harm onto my client, which is an ethical violation. Like
Mhm.
I have to make sure I'm understanding and finding and talking to colleagues about my blind spots so that I can make sure that I'm not harming my clients. So it's so important for me to really be honest with myself about what my biases are so that I can work through that, and not bring that into the counseling room.
Have you been watching Shrinking, sister?
Yes, I love shrinking.
And
Yeah.
the latest season too?
Wait, two. I'm on. It's
No,
three. It's
there's a new season. I don't. I
season
mean,
three.
Yes, yes, yes. There's a new season. Like, so when it been in the very recent past that you watched the last season? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's not three. Maybe you caught up and I just hadn't
Okay.
caught up.
Ooh,
I'll
it's
let
a
you know.
my
Yeah,
show. That is
yeah, yeah. I'll look for sure and let you know. So
okay. Okay. 'Cause
um
I'm
we'll
excited.
both look because I love that show.
Me
I
too.
got one of our other sisters hooked on it while she was here. So
Yeah.
yeah. This has been so good. I think about opportunities that I have had, the the misfortune of making an assumption that was wrong. And I'll give a light example. And if you have any before I ask how we can better manage these, this is coming out of that for me.
Okay.
Um, I assumed, and I know this, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I assumed somebody was pregnant.
Oh.
Girl,
Oh
just
no.
said it out loud
Oh no.
and was wrong
Oh no.
and was wrong.
Huh?
And so
Ooh.
so for me, a lesson learned is to take a beat. Just take a moment.
Mhm.
Whatever my first thought is, if it is a subjective thought,
Mhm.
if I am judging, especially if it's not a compliment or if it's not a complimentary positive thought, if it's a negative thought, I'm learning to take a beat,
Mhm.
because I either need to watch what I say or restrain from saying something, or
Mhm.
possibly even giving off something in my demeanor and my behavior that I might not say out loud, but I show on my face or I show in my physicality.
Yeah.
So it's really important for me to take a beat and think
Yeah.
twice before I act on or say anything related to a subjective thought that I've had. That's the lesson that I've learned.
Mhm.
What I don't know if it comes out of a mistake or a misstep that you've made, but any lessons or how do you better manage your assumptions?
One assumption that I've made and just showed up recently was if you're a leader, then that means that you have the ability to lead. Right? Like I have assumed that if you have made it this far and you are in a leadership position, you should possess certain qualities that will help move people forward. And that
Child,
has
child.
been such an incorrect assumption.
Mm, mm,
All
mm,
day. And I was sitting listening to a leader recently, and it hit me. Wow, you really don't have the capacity. You don't have it.
mm,
I am
mm.
only frustrating myself by expecting you to lead in the way that I think you should because you don't got it to give. And that
Mm-mm.
was such an aha moment for me because it helped me to relax the judgment and it helped me to empathize to a certain extent with this leader and to take off the constant thoughts of they should be doing this and they should be doing that. So it reduced the expectations that I have for this individual. And so I was like, and that helped me to regulate my emotions, right? So it just helped
Mhm.
me to calm and stabilize. And I'm like, child, I'm not finna keep saying this person is supposed to be doing this because they don't have it. So I just gotta pivot and accept that this is who they have shown me over and over that this is who they are, but I have to believe this person when they show me through their behaviors who they are. So
Like I said, when they show you who they are,
yes, believe
believe
them. And it's
them.
insanity for me to keep thinking that this person is going to change and adopt a leadership style that they just don't have. So, yeah, that was helpful for me. Mhm.
So good. So good. Oh my goodness. That is a whole word
Mhm.
because you can go through this emotional roller coaster and they
Yeah.
are just oblivious. They
Mhm.
have no clue and
Living
don't
in
care.
their own little bubble, and they think
Living
that
their
walking
life.
girl is fine. I said, "Well, bless your heart, baby. You don't get it, and you
Mhm,
really believe what you're saying. So you
mhm.
let you have it, and I'm a shift. I'm a shift."
Yep. 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 I love it. I love it. Well,
Mhm.
I have so appreciated this conversation because we get to think about what we think about.
Yeah. So,
And it's so important to do that.
mm,
And for those of you who are listening, I hope that you take time out to think about what you think about.
yeah.
And in this time of division,
Mm,
in this time of separation, um, of hatred, like there's so much negativity happening around us, just
mm,
swirling around us.
mhm,
May this be the space that we are the models and the examples of how it should be done.
So
It
true.
doesn't mean that we become martyrs or we become rugs to be stepped on or walked on.
Yeah.
We learn to, and I'll use those words, stand our ground, and at the same time be the kind of person that we want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And so, because it doesn't happen if um it doesn't happen if we don't do it.
Yeah.
I'll save it for my spiritual nugget. I'll save it because I it really ministered to me that connected to this.
Okay.
So thank you for that, sister.
Yeah. This is.
This conversation on what they say about assumptions. Don't do
Mm-mm.
it.
Don't do it, honey.
Don't do it. So let us know if you have any thoughts about this deep dive topic by going to speakpipe.com/real women real talk or emailing us at info@realwomenrock.org. Well, all right. So we are into our third segment. We're more than halfway there.
Yeah.
And our third segment is put myself in her shoes, his shoes, their shoes, where we have this opportunity to discuss current events or pose a trending topic or a question or scenario for discussion. You get this chance to practice empathy that we talked about in the last episode. If you missed it, go back. So that we can talk from a place of putting ourselves in a person, their shoes. So I want to talk a little bit about, because we're a few weeks off of it now, but we cannot ignore the fact that there was a Super Bowl. There
It
was.
was. Yes.
Yes, there was. And I know you are more of a football head than I.
Yes.
So I started paying attention at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Yes, just give me a little grace. Give me a little
Yeah.
grace. Shake your head at me and give me a little grace. It's all right,
It's
baby.
all right, baby.
so I did, keep track a lot long enough to see if our local team was gonna make it, and they almost made it by the hair. They chin. They almost made it.
So far.
Oh my gosh, proud of them.
Yeah.
And then sitting there knowing I'm here and I see, and it was a good game because
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
was so surprised
Yeah.
that Philly was just like all over it until the very end. It was wonderful.
Yes.
But then there was the real show.
The halftime. Yes.
The halftime show just keeps this saga going and going and going. And we have put ourselves in K. Dot and Drake's shoes before at some point during this segment. We have talked about this, but we can't help but talk about it now because it was just such a moment. Such a moment. So in addition to wondering what your thoughts are, because I would love to hear your thoughts about the halftime show. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was just hip hop, like at its highest. It was just for me, the creativity. First of all, he's a lyricist.
Yeah.
He's not just a rapper. He's a lyricist. So you got to look up the words and you got to know the double entendres, and you got to know all of this. So I love that about his creativity and the game controller and all of that. But just the fact that Poe Drake keeps getting called out. That baby just can't get a break, can't catch a break. And he's going on tour now. And I heard some places they booing him, and he's just having a time. Bless his heart.
Oh, sugar.
So, in addition to you sharing whatever you want to share about that, I'm just curious if you were called out in a more public space, more than just on your phone or in a one-on-one conversation. If somebody was on stage or they were at church and they, from the pulpit, or some of us have been, called out in women's gatherings or something. Just if you were called out in a more public space, would you address it? How would you address it? Like, what would be your thought process if you were a Drake in in this scenario? Just open the floor to whatever your thoughts are.
Oh my goodness. So one, I absolutely love the halftime performance. Kendrick did his thing, and it was so simple yet profound. Like, I love the creativity. I love the camera angles when they were in the X and the camera kept going around and he popped up. It was just so great. And there's so many symbolisms. Like, I had to go back and watch it after, and I probably need to watch it again because I missed some things that people are still talking about. So it was just so creative, and he did it his own way. Now, I'll admit, I didn't know some of them songs because I'm not a K stan, so I don't know their baby songs, but I knew enough I was dancing, and I knew they not like us. And just the whole, is he gonna do it? Is he not gonna do it? Like, I love the
teasing.
Yes, the teasing. And my guilty pleasure has been being on TikTok, looking at the people's reactions to because you're like, oh my God, you're not gonna do it. Oh, and then he did it, and then people are dancing. And then when Serena Williams came on, that was everybody's, got so much reaction from that. So I loved it. I appreciated that. And I just thought he was so bold, like looking in the camera, say, Drake, I heard you like him. Like, that was just
so good.
I was here for it. Now, if I were Lil Drake, oh, the baby. If I were someone who was called out in such a big way like that and continuously being called out and dragged through the mud, I think I would just go in hiding. If I'm called out in a public setting like that, I probably wouldn't react knowing me, because I just process, and it takes me a minute to understand, like, oh, this really happened. So I probably wouldn't say anything in the moment, and I might just go off the grid for a little bit. You ain't gonna see me for a little while because I need to go lick my wounds, because that was hurtful. And I need to regroup and figure out what my next move. But I probably wouldn't be on tour, doing anything like that for a little minute. I need a little second to get my little thoughts together, my little feelings back mended and in order. So I think I'm gonna just, y'all can be like, where is she at, girl? She off in the corner. She'll be all right. She'll be out. She'll pop back out later, but not right now.
He needs to do what Will Smith did.
Right.
Just disappear for a little while.
Go lay down. Go lay down.
I'm gonna go lay down. I'm gonna go lay down. Oh Lord. Okay. So agree. I agree with everything you said. I just want to point out that he did this to himself.
Yes.
Because somebody does not love him enough to tell him that after the first round, like, you should have just not put nothing else out about this. Somebody's been going saying, no, you got this, go ahead. Yeah, that's fire. Put that out. That's fire. They should have said, let it go. Just let him put that song. Because whatever those songs were before, They're Not Like Us. Yeah. You could have let a couple of those just go, and then you would have never got to They're Not Like Us.
Right.
But and we knew that Kendrick had them just ready, because as soon as Drake would do it, it was like the next day, night. So he was just waiting on you to respond, and you shouldn't have responded, baby. It would have been Kendrick talking to himself. So if it were me, I would not have even engaged in the back and forth. I'm not a very competitive person like that anyway. Right. So I would have been like, let you have it. Like, I'm just, I want to sing about these girls over here. I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing and playing my little hip hop music, K-pop, rap music. I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm not gonna engage.
Well, the
And then,
J. Cole did that. He was like, you know what?
yep,
I'm gonna go. I'm
I'm a
out.
stage left, stage left. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. Uh-huh. Lord.
And he is doing just fine. And I, I
Mhm.
I do agree with somebody. He's gonna be fine. At some point,
That's
he'll let it'll pass. This is a moment now. It's a
a big
big,
one.
long moment.
The biggest stage where everybody's watching it. It's one of the biggest, the most watched Super Bowls. Yeah, because people were just the drama around it. Yeah.
So, well, thank you for indulging me. We would love to know how y'all are feeling about this. I mean, we probably been seeing how y'all feeling because
Uh-huh.
we both been trolling y'all trying to find out what y'all think about it. So if you have put it up, we probably seen it. But feel
Uh-huh.
free if you want to let us know by going to speakpipe.com/real women real talk what you think. And if there are any Drake fans out there, we want to hear from you too. No judgment, no shade. We would love to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, your side. We just curious what you think.
Mhm.
We would love to hear from you. Email us at info@realwomenrock.org. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, I hope that baby all right. I hope he just taking it in stride at this point. Bless his heart.
Try to do a collaboration or something. Just wave your flag and just come together or something like that.
Let me tell you, that would make so much money. If they
Yeah.
decided to do that, that would just make so much money.
Yeah.
So, sister, we have come to the end of our episode. That just flew by. I am wondering in this spiritual nugget as we are closing this segment, is there anything that comes up for you from this episode or just any of our time together that you would like to leave with the people?
Mm-hmm. Um, it, it makes me think about, you know how when you're driving and you have the mirrors, is it the side mirrors? I think it's the side mirrors where it says objects in mirror are closer than they appear.
Child, yes.
Um, I think we as people are closer together to each other than we appear to be.
Talk that talk.
So when we take the time to get curious about other people's stories, we find more commonality than differences.
Mm, mm, mm.
So I think if we just try to be open, try to be understanding, and relax the judgment and the biases. Now, human nature, we're gonna have it, but we don't have to allow it to dictate our moves, and our
Mm,
behavior. So yeah, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Yeah.
So good. So good. Um, I want to offer one of the reasons why I wanted us to talk about this. Of course, it's because of all of the division and the things that are happening in the world right now. But I'm a fan. I'm probably a stan of India Ari,
Okay.
and so I love her.
Mhm.
And she has begun pulling away from as much social media, conventional social media, and
Yeah.
she's started a blog off of social media, and so you
Mhm.
can subscribe to it, and you
Mhm.
get her musings and thoughts just randomly as she's thinking about them. And recently, she posted something, and I was going to say something about this earlier. Um, but she decided that instead of when they go low, you go high. She
Mhm.
is the kind of person, she said, that those are two options, those are two words,
Yeah.
but she has chosen a whole nother word. Like she's just
Mhm.
instead of feeling like there's this one way or the other.
Yeah.
No, I choose here. I choose to be on this side of things. And so the example that she gave was that she is, she had a moment of, this is what she said. She had
Mhm.
a really big moment in music, and the trends have gone another way where the what she represented is not necessarily what's being represented right now as the thing, right?
Yeah.
The thing to be and the thing to do. And
Mhm.
she always has the choice of whether to be that new thing
Mhm.
or to denounce that new thing. And she's just chosen, you know what? I'm removing myself
Mhm.
from this whole scene. And
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to be another word. I'm going to choose to be sincere, and I'm going to choose to be me, and I'm
Yeah.
going to choose to be unique, and I'm going to choose to be different. And so that hit me hard enough to say it is not only okay, but it is honorable and noble and upstanding to choose another word, to
Mhm.
choose another way of being. It does not have to look like it looks right now. But what feels right to me, what feels right to you,
Mhm.
even if is not represented in the world right now, if
Mhm.
you know within your gut that it would be helpful to you and others to represent that, be that,
Mm.
whatever that is, even if you are the lone wolf,
Yeah.
as one of our sisters says often. So that blessed me.
You know what that makes me think about, sister? Because when you say you, when they go low, you go high. There's still a focus on that. So what I
Yes.
hear you saying is, she take you go low, you go high. I'm gonna be over here, and I'm gonna focus
Yes.
on this. So I'm taking my focus off of what's happening here, and I'm shifting it into something that is more genuine and authentic for me. Yeah.
Ah, and it's such, I could almost cry because you articulated it even better than I did, because it spoke to me so deeply
Yeah.
that it's one of the reasons why I don't like watching the news.
Yeah.
I don't want to engage. And I know we live in a real world and we're going to deal with the consequences and to not know about them, but I'm gonna hear about them because everybody gonna talk about them. So I'm not gonna be able, but to feed myself that, and
Yeah.
because what I take in, it's got
Mhm.
to come out some kind of way.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I would rather feed myself something else.
No.
I would rather spend time with people who
Mhm.
are talking about something else, who are life-giving and not
Yeah.
draining.
Mhm.
So yeah, that ministered to me. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Mhm. Whew, okay, this was good, good, good. I love that we can go a whole bunch of places. We gonna kiki,
Yes.
and we probably gonna cry, cry. We gonna kiki, we gonna cry, cry.
Yeah, all of it is good. Yes.
All of it is good, good. Thank y'all so much for being with us during this time. Tell somebody about us. We are Real Women, Real Talk, and we are derived from Real Women Rock. We give you a sneak peek into what it's like to be a part of a Real Women Rock sister circle. We always have virtual sister circles, so you are welcome to join us monthly no matter where you live. But if you are in the DMV, especially, or in Hampton Roads, Virginia, we right now have circles for you. So please go to our website and find them. If you want to help us get a sister circle to your area, then there's a way that you can join our membership. You can donate to us. There are so many ways that you can help us grow and expand, so that, because our goal is that every woman would have a safe space and a circle of sisters no matter where she lives in the world, and
Mhm.
that includes you. And so we invite you to be a part of all of that, and we invite you to be a part of our Blossom Brunch that is coming March 29th. And we are going to have amazing music. We're going to have good food. We're going to have a wonderful program where we are honoring trailblazers and contributors to our work. And they are amazing women in the world. We cannot wait to just come get all spring dressed up and really just laugh and joke together. It is a fundraiser for Real Women. So if you just want to donate, there's a way that you can go to the Blossom Brunch and join us by coming physically or donating to the Blossom Brunch. We would absolutely love your support. All right, sister, we have done this thing.
We did that. Yes.
Thank y'all so much for being with us. Share this with somebody, and we'll see y'all on the next episode.
Bye, y'all.